Okay, so today we are covering the radius. Now, the radius only has three structures that you need to identify, but it's a little tricky to figure out left and right on it. So one thing to know is that the radius is in part of the antebrachium with the ulna. The antebrachium, anti meaning before, brachium means arm, so it's the forearm. Right? And so here we have a radius, typical radius. There's a couple features that we're going to point out. The styloid process here is going to be distal and lateral. Alright, so styloid, like a stylus of your Nintendo DS, it means it's a little pointy projection that sticks off. Alright, so a process is a projection, and then so this is going to be lateral and distal. Alright, so we set that up, the bone, so it's lateral, distal, but it can go this way or that way. And there's two features that I like to use to figure it out. Alright, so right here, if you look at it, you see how it swoops up? Right, that's right here. It's called the anterior crest, and that's anterior, obviously. Right, so anterior portion, or that swoop face, is anterior. So we set that up where the styloid process is distal and lateral. Anterior crest is going to be anterior, and so I know that this is a left radius. Alright, so the other features that you need to be aware of besides the styloid process, again, you probably want to be pretty specific here. So the styloid process of the radius is the radial tuberosity. And so a tuberosity is a big rough patch, and if you look at it, it's a big rough patch. And tuberosities tend to be attachments for muscles. So if you ever see a tuberosity, a big rough area, that's going to be an attachment point for muscles, right? So imagine if you wanted to glue two things together, sometimes you score it or you rough up the surface so it sticks better. It's the same basic principle. The last thing here that you need to be aware of is this thing that looks like a T, a golf tee. It's the head of the radius. Right? That's going to be proximal, so the head of the radius is proximal, and it looks like a little golf tee. And it has a smooth edge, and that smooth edge is going to connect with the ulna, and we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail when we get to the ulna. So again, the three features that you need to know: styloid process of the radius, head of radius, radial tuberosity. The other feature to think about, which is really well shown here, is this sharp edge. And generally, when you see sharp edges on bones, they tend to face other bones, right? And so there's obviously examples in here, but if you look at your forearm and then also in your the fibula, they have a sharp edge, and that sharp edge really faces towards another muscle, and you have another bone, and that's where the interosseous membrane connects to. So again, if you see sharp edges, it's a good indicator that that's going to face another bone.